Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Symphony. Symphony Entertainment, Gaming, and Arts is my gaming company that focuses on horror systems, indie games, organic content, and player agency in an attempt to bring a symphonic approach to horror role playing. I am your host and storyteller for the evening, Bridgett, and we are back with another episode of Sanguine Arch, Symphony's very first Vampire the Masquerade campaign that takes place in modern nights here in Columbus, Ohio. Tonight, we bring together the majority of our cast. We typically do 2 recordings in one sitting just to be respectful of everyone's time because we all know the bane of gaming is availability. We have families, lives, kids, and a bunch of stuff going around, and 2025 is doing the most. So Carl is still on vacation, and we miss him dearly, but you will be seeing your favorite Bruja in future episodes. We do have 2 announcements for tonight. One, we are still rolling out the Symphony notes. So these are quick flash forwards or flashback or internal retrospection episodes with our favorite kindred. You may have seen 1 or 2 already, and you kind of get a flavor profile on what these look like. Most of the Symphony notes are going to be aired publicly, but we will be reserving a few of them. Some of the more special ones are more of the probably shouldn't air on Twitch ones are going to be going directly to our Patreon backers, which transition when, if you are interested in being a backer over at Symphony, please head over to Patreon directly at patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment and consider backing us. Any type of subscriptions that we get helps us generate more content, helps keeps the light on, and we do our best to try to give back to our backers when we can. For this arc in particular, we're giving you the opportunity to buy boons and banes to throw at your favorite kindred, the opportunity to guest star as an NPC and storyteller on air, all the way down to merch and a lot of fun things we have coming down the pipeline. So again, if you like us, love us, please consider backing us on Patreon. It helps more than you absolutely know. With that being said, guys, red lines have been discussed with the cast and crew. The X card is in play. X is going to be sent via private message into the Zoom chat or done visibly. We are also going to be using the red, yellow, green traffic light method. If a safety tool is activated, there's no judgment passed. There are no questions asked. We can tell deeper, darker, more horrifying stories if we know that we're telling it from a place of safety where everyone is actually enjoying the emotional torture, because we're all hurt me daddies. We came here to hurt each other, and we're just going to continue to do that. But as long as we're doing it with guardrails that are respectful to the human beings that are embodying these characters, there's nothing stopping our storytelling. So without further ado, let us unveil this cast. Cast members, please introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are and where people can find you. And we're going to start with Doc.
Hi, everybody. I'm Doc. I'm playing Connor the Ventrue in this ongoing adventure. You can find me
Yes.
on various Discord channels, social media. It's all on my link tree, which hopefully we're going to put in the description or something. But
Mm-hmm.
it's linktree.com/DocBones. Find me there. Find me on Discord at Doc Bone or Dr. Bones. Any variation of Doc, depending on the server, because there are many of us who go by the moniker Doc, as we saw at Chaosium Con, and now the other one's having an identity crisis. So,
I love it. Love it. Tiffany, tell us who you are and where people can find you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I can be found on most social medias as Color Cat Designs, where I showcase my art and other events that I'm doing. I have been on other podcasts playing other games that lasted a really, really long time. And
Yeah.
here. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Oh, I love it. And Tracy, baby, tell us who you are and where we can find you.
Hello, I am Tracy. And much like Doc, I have a link tree. It's /mythical magpie. So linktree.com/mythical magpie. I also have many socials. Mostly I just do art for fun and joy. So, and then I also role play and like to hurt myself for other
Consistently.
people's entertainment, apparently.
Consistently as well, which I absolutely love. Okay, players, are we ready to hop back in? Oh, I love it. Let's do it. Columbus, Ohio, Modern Nights. We are going to present our chronicle tenets by Doc.
never endanger or betray the domain. Our community is stronger together. Unapologetically defend the traditions. They keep us safe. Ambition is rewarded. Liabilities are destroyed.
Prince Nia Glass has just issued Writer Destruction over Hope Jenkins, the Malkavian that violated the tenants of Elysium. Who wants to take narrative on her death? Oh, that icy silence is amazing. I love it.
Doc wants it.
I gave her a name. You have to hurt her.
You're the worst, Tiff.
I gave her
You're
a
the
name,
worst.
and I also gave her a personality that she was ready for the death. So okay,
All right, I guess I'll take it because Tiffany voluntold me.
okay.
As she's standing there in the front, Prince Neoglass knows that if you command the sentence, you should be the one to swing the sword, and begins to prepare to formally end the life of this woman, Hope Jenkins. And as she does, Hope's stare never falters. She looks almost defiant that for what she's done, it was an honest mistake. And Elysium, when the news came out about the Tremere Pyramid falling, she had a lapse of judgment. But in these months since, she knows that she made a mistake and has to pay for it. And given her generation, as we were told, she does not turn to ash. She merely drops to the ground. And as she does, the last thing that us collected see together is just that light leave her eyes as hope is extinguished.
The empty shell of hope is removed from the center of your gathering. Hope will likely be burned. It's one of the safest ways to make sure that there's no evidence of her left. The grief that Clan Malkavian feels in this moment is palpable. It's a heavy thing when a kindred perishes. There are few of you. And in the Camarilla, you go through so much to exist. Your sire has to achieve right of progeny. That typically comes with a cost, just to embrace. You undergo, well, most of us months, some of us decades, apparently, under the accounting to make sure that they are a viable citizen. They're acknowledged, which is a massive moment where they're accepted into the Camarilla. And their deeds and their histories and their stories are accented by status and recognition, the communities that they contribute to, the clans that they love. It's a heavy thing when a light goes out on a kindred. But the tenets of Elysium cannot be ignored. No, it wasn't that Malkavian's fault. This is indeed unfortunate. But no, it wasn't Hope Jenkins's fault. She still committed violence on Elysium ground. And there's only one sentence for that. And it's destruction. Again, Hope is removed, and Prince Neoglass gives a brief moment of acknowledged silence. My condolences to Clan Malkavian. I have only a few announcements, and we're going to go through them very quickly. And I'm just going to drop out of her character just so we can kind of gloss this scene and you can understand and we can dive into just a taste of some of the culture at court. Neoglass is going to make the following announcements. 1, at this point in time, she does not plan to have a seneschal, basically a second, a lieutenant. She doesn't plan to have that office occupied, but she could change her mind. All previous primogen have been released from duty, and she is accepting fresh new primogen who should be appointed and chosen by their clans. For those who don't know, we will be having another episode on this later, but your primogen are going to be your direct advisors to the prince, and they typically are representative of a clan. So the primogen of the Assamites, the primogen of Clan Toreador, the Ventru primogen, things of that nature. They can also be of a concept. The new harpy I have appointed is, and I am just going to deliberately pause this, I am teeing up the entire harpy design to a Patreon backer. So Patreons, at the point that this episode airs, be checking your Patreon portal, because depending on your backer level, I am giving you the opportunity to determine name, gender, backstory, the character sheet, the personality. You can even create the sheet if you want to of who the new harpy is going to be here in Columbus, Ohio. Prince Nia Glass says that she plans to maintain Victoria Bouchard as keeper from Clan Hakata, which many of you already know. She has appointed Justice as the new Scourge. And she plans on instituting a Principle of the Faith. This is a new position that at least Bridgett has become aware of in the By Night Studios book. And this is an individual that we'll discuss at some time later. But Nia Glass does say that she is bringing in this individual from outside of the domain, from her previous domain in NOLA. So Ayan Muhammad is going to be coming in from New Orleans. She should be arriving within the next week or so. The only other announcement she has is this. Former Sheriff Angel has been lawfully destroyed with the granting of right of destruction. I offer my condolences and a minor boon from me to Clan Bruja to use as they see fit. With that being said, the traditions were upheld, prestation was leveraged, and I am now hiring for a new sheriff. There is a hush that goes over to the room, and Ivy, it is undeniable the amount of subtle glances that are going your way and going to the glances of the Banu Hakim in the room. Now, I am trying out something new. I don't know if it's going to float. It might not float, but I have assigned, well, let me correct this first. Something that may float or may not float. I deliberately did not create a clan culture inside of Columbus. I wanted that to be something that we as a table collectively were going to build together. And part of those building blocks we're going to attempt to do right now. We'll see how it goes. Tracey, what clan did you choose?
I chose Toreador.
Okay, you chose Toreador. Doc, what clan do you have?
I have the Nosferatu.
You have the Nosferatu. And then Tiffany, what clan do you have?
Tremere.
You have the Tremere. Okay, so the Tremere are present back at Gathering after the events at Vienna. They did take about a month all to reconcile what their lives look like going forward, but they have been slowly reintegrating back into society. The Gangrel are still not present. You have not heard or seen from the Gangrels since they disappeared that night that the announcement that Elysia fell. This is a fun and horrifying turning point in the story. The tenets of Elysium were upheld, but a Malkavian lost their life when it really wasn't their fault. You also have noticed that one of the strongest Bruja in the domain, who was sitting on 5 or 6 status, who had served diligently as a sheriff and was known to be a fair sheriff, a loyal sheriff, and a good man, rights of destruction were purchased. Nia Glass approved it, and he's dead. So there's going to be a lot of tension and a lot of moving into the ecosystem right now. I'm curious, Tracey, tell me right now, Clan Toreador. What do we know about Clan Toreador right now? We know that they held the Praxis up until about 2 months ago. And apparently, former Prince Stephen Yu, who historically has never been known for his cowardice, fled the domain right as the news of Vienna falling broke. Give me an idea of what we're seeing from the Toreador in the room or the atmosphere that the Toreador are embodying right now, because we got a lot of stuff to respond to.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, I think they were not quiet about the fact that they did not believe he fled.
Ooh.
If he fled, he did not flee of his own volition.
Okay.
And, and when I say not quiet, I mean through the snipey Toreador, ways that they do things, right? I don't think they would stand like a Bruja and pronounce things. And so I think they are presenting themselves as unified as they can, in defense of their clanmate. Now, that said, he's not Prince anymore. So Nia Gunn's Prince. So, or Nia Glass, excuse me.
Oh, that's so funny because we have a gun in our game that was a prince.
Yeah,
Keep going, sorry.
I think, they, despite their protests, they still have to live in this domain with a new prince.
Yeah.
A new prince that's not of their clan. So I think a couple weeks in, while yes, they're still pissy about it because they don't think their clanmate did what he was accused of, the voices have gotten quieter.
Oof.
Instead of saying the words out loud, whatever they're doing, it's probably behind closed doors.
Okay.
I don't think for a second that any of them are going back to this world after we heard about Vienna the same way they would have. I think aside from the Malkavians who were emotionally hurt,
yeah,
Toreador's like the next highest humanity. I think maybe Brujah is third. And I think the Toreador are noticing. They can see that there are people missing from court. They can see that people are dying from things that they are accused of that don't sound like they make sense. And so I don't think they're going back into the next few gatherings as they would have before, holding their little salons and being, trying to snipe at the Ventru or whatever. I think they are all still holding themselves as beauty and poison humanity would dictate before. But I think they are doing so now from a far more measured and calculating place.
Oh, that is stunning. Okay. 2 rapid fire questions for you here, Tracey, on Clan Toreador here in Columbus. How do you think their numbers sit right now? Now, Columbus is known to be an epicenter of culture and art and celebration of the various creative facets. So it would make sense that they have a healthy, large presence here. But I'm asking you, is this a scarce population? Was it like just 2-3 Toreador and their prince? Or do they have like some healthy numbers? Are they well established in Columbus? Are they in a renaissance? Just give me an idea of what their health and their numbers look like within the domain.
Yeah. I mean, I think Columbus is showing, all things considered, a pretty unprecedented renaissance.
Okay.
But I think that as the weeks go by, their defenders, the gang world, their prince, all those people that would have helped them, there may be less at court than show up.
Oh.
Or than exist. Less who show up to court than exist.
I like that. Conversations, last question for you. Private conversations that are happening within Clan Toreador. What's the prominent rumor that's going through that would actually happen to former Prince Stephen Yu?
There is absolutely no mistake that Nia Gunn stepped up real fast. As was described of her, she sat on a hoard of secrets like a dragon. And while she presented herself very confidently and actually really humane and kind, it was almost like things were waiting for the right moment. And the news that, first of all, the beckoning has taken so many from us, already started to destabilize things a little bit. And they truly believe that she had taken advantage of that situation with all of the secrets she had about all the people that were important and leveraged those somehow to get him away from the gathering so that she could accuse him of having run like a coward.
Okay.
And then once you accuse someone of running as a prince, that's it. You're done.
That's it. They ran. The truth doesn't matter because the truth is what the god of her own domain says it is. And she says that Stephen Yu ran. Doc, you are holding Clan Nosferatu right now.
Yes, I am.
These are the ones who have an actual bane to have a thirst and a need for all of the secrets. They want all of the cookies. They want all of the things. And there's a lot of crumbs on the table right now between this Malkavian that was just executed, between what the fuck, did we really just kill a sheriff? Okay. I mean, legal is legal, right? Maybe not. There's a lot of movement. Where are the Gangrel? No one has heard of the Gangrel. And I will tell you this much. This will be explored in a Symphony note. The Nas have zero information on what happened in Vienna. And that is one of the most terrifying things that can happen to a clan that runs on secrets. They literally have nothing. And that is a massive problem that they can't admit it loud. But they're going to have to come to terms with it, something is moving on a spectrum that's larger and more powerful and more surgical and likely prepared for them than they're willing to accept. How's Clan Nosferatu doing at this event right now?
Oh, Clan Nosferatu is experiencing almost. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this, of where you take somebody that you usually keep at arm's length, you don't want to admit associating with, because they know everyone's secrets. They know everything that goes on. Nothing moves without one of the Nos knowing what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody wants to know what they know. And when it comes to secrets, especially things like seeing this Malkavian just executed in front of everybody, or the death of the beloved sheriff, there's a lot of rumors that swirl. And for information like that, the Nos are quickly learning that people are willing to give up a lot for a crumb, not even the whole cookie. People are willing to give up the whole cookie jar for a single crumb of information. And in that respect, they're finding a balance that they now have more information across the board than they would normally. People are willing to open up their locked secrets and welcome these visually disfigured kindred to the table, while simultaneously not realizing how much they're giving up. Because everybody wants to know about Vienna, and nobody's getting anything. But the Nos are just happy to trickle along like a loan that you're never going to pay off.
Ooh.
We'll give you some information if you give us a little bit more. And I will leave this to you on how valid this is. There is an assumption across a lot of the clans that they know a lot of what's happening here in Columbus, and they're not letting that slide. They're stringing along that lack of knowledge on Vienna to keep themselves sated, while collecting more than people realize about the death of the Malkavian, the death of the sheriff, this new principle of the faith position. They know a lot more than they're willing to let on, but they're willing to dangle an empty cookie jar at people just to fill it with crumbs.
Love that articulation, and there's something so Camarilla genre balanced about it, because when you go through a political destabilizing event like you get with the beckoning, yeah, a lot of things shatter, and you're able to pick up a lot of pieces. You're able to see behind the veil. You're finally able to see and capture more intelligence and data than you ever have before. But that was just the beckoning. We've got a new praxis. We have some suspicious disappearances. Like, where the hell did that seneschal go? We don't care about our now because we have a new prince. But like, where the hell did that Banu Hakim seneschal go? Really, we're bringing in the principle of the faith from New Orleans? Okay, that's really interesting. So I love the idea. Like, there's so much data that they're dangling around, while they're also using that as a shield to hide themselves from the fact of the one thing everyone needs to know is the one thing that they don't have any intelligence on. It's a great smokescreen to keep everything distracted while they actually try to figure out the thing that's going to snipe up and then take all of you guys out. That is an amazing articulation of how. So really what's going on right now, this is like Nosferatu Information Christmas. They are giving away Christmas gifts all over the place. But the problem is no one realizes that all the boxes are empty. Now, when that turns around, that's a whole different story. But as of right now, there are Christmas gifts for everyone. There's so much gossip. There's so much light. There's so many cookies. There's so much stuff going on. And they are in high demand. I imagine the Nosferatu are collecting boons upon boons upon boons for the information that they are receiving. But they still don't have a read on the one thing that matters most. Tiffany, what clan do you have?
Tremere.
Oh, this should be interesting. How is Clan Tremere doing right now in Columbus?
I think that they are trying very hard to reestablish themselves to show that they are still safe, that they are still willing to participate in the tenants and to uphold the masquerade and be a part of court. I think that there's a little edge of panic because everything they've ever known, everything they've ever been taught is gone.
Yeah.
They feel different. And I think coming here to hear all this news, they are barely holding it together because it's more chaos. The sheriff is gone. Nobody knows. This Malkavian is being executed for something they didn't witness. There's a new prince. There are new positions. There are other kindred coming from other domains. I think they are desperately looking for stability and are finding none.
Whoa. Desperately looking for stability and are finding none. That is stunning. Give me an idea of ecosystem of Tremere here in Columbus post Vienna falling. Do you think we've got high numbers, low numbers? Are they one of the more scarcely populated clans, or were they one of the more heavier ones?
I think it depends on the day and who's up for pulling themselves out of bed, so to speak.
Oh, that's fair. The clan of depression. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. So I think because it's only been 2 months, that there isn't a good bead on how many. And I don't even think, because they don't have the bond anymore, they know necessarily. And like some that were close are going to go check up on others, but then, depending on, because I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, in V5.
Yep.
So it used to be broken down by houses in second edition. Is that still a thing in Tremere?
I am almost positive that right now that's what they have them as, is in a couple houses. But just because you're on a roll right now, I am going to go look at Tremere really fast. I'm pretty sure By Night Studios has them broken down into... Yeah, so there's House Tremere, House Karna, and House Goratrix is what I'm looking at.
Yep.
I should have my glasses
Goratrix,
on.
yep.
Yep. Okay. So they still have the houses here, yes.
So I think that mostly there's a bonding of houses, and you'll find it in this gathering too, that the houses are kind of like, they're like clicked off together.
Okay. Oh, that's good. And then, Doc, I deliberately didn't ask you how many Nosferatu are in Columbus because fucking no one will ever know.
I had an answer for that ready to go.
Yeah,
but
listen, I didn't even bother with it because fucking nobody will ever know. Because if they're down below and they're warrens or whatever people who don't understand Nos believe, you'll never know. It could be 600 Nosferatu in Columbus.
I got a sprinkle for it if you'll
go for it. Go for it.
Ever since the Tremere Pyramid fell, people have realized there are significantly more Nos in town than they realize, because although they normally keep to the sewers and are, as I said, kept at arm's length away, other kindred have seen a lot more unique Nos walking around that they didn't even realize existed.
Like, fuck, how long has that guy been here? 60 years? What? So the Nos are suddenly peeking their heads up. It's Christmas. Got to distribute those gifts somehow. Beautiful. That was a little workshop idea I had in my head that worked out even better than I thought it could. Well done, players. That was literally a segment that I called, hold on, let me find the title of it. I called it a Build a Clan. So beautifully, beautifully, beautifully done. I am going to roll forward. Let's go a week into the future following this particular gathering. Clans are coming together. They are making their proposals for who they believe should be their clan primogen. There's a lot of talk, a lot of offshoots, a lot of negotiation, a lot of politics that happen above your heads because two of you are still under the accounting. You don't matter. And the one of you here that is acknowledged and out of the accounting, well, I think we all know who clan has somebody that's going to put up for their primogen. It's not really a whole discussion. We all know it's going to be Moses. everyone knows it's going to be Moses. So that's just more or less, can Moses convince the prince to make him Primogen? And we're going to go from there. But a week later, each of you receive a summons, marching orders, I should say, from the office of the prince. It's not directly from Prince Neoglass, but she doesn't have a seneschal, so it's just from somebody that's handling her paperwork, but it's effectively from Prince Neoglass. And Mr. Prim is going to give you this summons that he sees Connor Rowe, and I'm not going to attempt to role play or embody Ryan because I couldn't even touch it if I wanted to, but it's an address, a name, and a requirement that Connor Rowe is to meet with Ayan Muhammad, which is the new principal of the faith. And it gives you an address that's somewhere in North Columbus. Rosalia, this is the exact same thing. This message goes to Justice because nothing gets directly addressed to you. You don't matter. You have a handler, and it's Justice. And this is the exact same message that's coming from the office of the prince, that you are required to go see Ayan Muhammad, the principal, the new principal of the faith here in Columbus, Ohio. And Ivy, yes, you get yours, directly handed to you, which you've also been summoned to speak and meet with this Ayan Muhammad, the new principal of the faith. Now, just so we're all on the same page here, let's talk about the principal of the faith position. I had never heard of this position before. I pulled it directly out of the By Night Studios books. So you guys may know, but in case you don't, here's the expectations per the book. The prince can redefine this however she chooses, but per the book, the dark times of recent nights have led kindred turning to faith or for comfort, or turning to faith for comfort and guidance. The principal of the faith is an ancient role that has recently returned to some domains. Their role is to advise the court on matters of the soul. Some principles of faith use this platform to push an agenda of humanity and, represent a broad numbers of believers to the prince. This position comes with no additional status. It comes with no formal recognition. The principal of the faith is appointed by a prince, and they don't really have any specific authority mechanics. So they can't take status. They can't give status. They can't hold you responsible for anything. This is like the emotional heartbeat of a domain. It is your primogen of morality, as Tracey should appreciate that phrase. It is a place that you can ground yourself. The problem is, in nights as dark as these, if you have an exceptional primogen of the faith, they can become a massive threat to the prince, because this person can very quickly become adored and appreciated and loved and be a beacon of light in a place of darkness. And if their agenda doesn't align with their prince's, it's very easy to turn that hope into a weapon. The three of you are summoned to a date and a time somewhere out north in Columbus, Ohio. In this particular residential neighborhood, you drive through a myriad of these streets, and just looking at all the homes in this area, this is probably a mid-economic range home. You can imagine that the medium income of this area is probably somewhere, as a family, $60,000 to $80,000. You are looking at all of these homes that are in various states of how well can we maintain with the budget that we have. Some yards are completely overgrown that haven't been cut from all the recent rain, so the weeds are out of control with vines climbing up the house. But that might be next door to somebody else who is absolutely retired and does all their day nothing but yard work. So the grass is green and it's pristine. There's not a single dandelion in the yard, and the roof has the solar panels on it. And then right next to that, you may have a couple college kids that are just renting this place, doing the best they can with what they have. But you're looking through this area, this residential neighborhood. That's about 400 or so homes in, not 400, 40 or so homes in it, like per little street and bracket. And all of them are either 3-level homes or those 4-level split houses. You can just tell from how squat some of the houses are that some of them go underground, and then there's every once in a while you see a taller home. But you go to the end of a cul-de-sac, And as you wrap around there at the edge of the cul-de-sac, you come to the address that you've come to. This is one of those split level homes that has a single driveway. The grass is well manicured. It has a ADT security system, but that's okay because the door over also has like the ADT security system. The door over from that has a Ring doorbell. Everyone has a Ring doorbell. It's a nightmare in Columbus for Kendrick because at any point in time, someone is probably watching you on film. It's a mess. But you are able to arrive to this home. Who actually arrives first?
I would think probably Ivy because she wants to get a feel for the neighborhood
Okay.
and stake the place out, make sure it's safe. That's the kind of thing she does.
Okay.
Look at vantage points for any danger, things like that.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so Ivy, how do you arrive? Do you walk? Do you bike? Did you take an Uber here? Did you drive your own vehicle?
Um, Depends how close it is to her end of town. She prefers to walk everywhere.
Okay.
That way she's not tied to a vehicle. If it is like across town or
Yep.
anything, then she will drive.
Okay. So you're able to drive. It has a, like I said, a single driveway, and you don't see a car in the drive. It could be in this little single garage as well. But you're able to park. So you're looking at cul-de-sac street parking. You're able to park. And what do we see of Ivy when she gets out of the vehicle?
She has a tendency to wear just a black leather like motorcycle style jacket, black t-shirt, ripped jeans. If you didn't know any better, she looks almost stereotypically Bruja,
Mm.
but she's okay with that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And let's have another person arriving shortly after Ivy gets out of the car, and she's being very intentional of just checking out the security of the place.
I feel like I can't afford to be late.
Oop. Okay.
Like I can't afford to be late. And I wake up a little earlier than most vampires.
That's right. So you've been up.
Yeah. So I probably had some errands to do, but I cannot afford to be late.
Okay.
And while Ivy kind of looks around and, is taking in her surroundings pretty much at all times, looking for vantage points and things. It's kind of like she does that as well, but from the vantage point of prey, where Ivy
Oh.
might be looking at things from the vantage point of a hunter. She's looking around for things that might hurt her or the people that she cares about. So her eyes kind of dart around, and then she makes it in as quickly as she can, eyes lowered, head kind of lowered and bowed.
So I love this idea of Ivy stepping out of the vehicle and just doing like a security sweep, and then Leah jumping out of a busted vehicle, of course, right now because you still need to get the repairs from you going off in the trench. It's drivable, and you're just like head lower, just skirting past Ivy as you're moving up the drive.
I like it.
As you're moving up the driveway and you're getting ready to make that right to go to the little small walkway that leads you to the front door, the garage door activates and it begins to coil up. There is no car on the interior of the garage, but there is a well organized shop of supplies, mostly gardening supplies. Topsoil, mulch, grass seeds. There's a riding lawnmower in the back. There's just everything is just organized and well hung along the walls. But it looks like a baby botanist place. There's walls of seeds and packets. You can see where someone has brought out seeds in these sack bags that they are preparing to plant for this year that they had to pull up from the previous winter. I mean, it's a whole thing. And turning around the corner of the garage, the little metal gate opens, and you both see a woman. She looks to be about 5'9". She is on the more voluptuous side, so you can see that she's well curved around her hips and her breasts, on the heavier side, but well put together. She's wearing flare pants that like zip tied tightly. What are those balloon pants that were like fluffy and then they tight, almost like genie pants? What are those pants called? Are they genie
Parachute
pants?
pants? Parachute pants?
I've heard them called harem pants.
Harem
Pants. Yes. Okay. That's so
I'm
amazing.
not sure like the political correctness on that, but
You're
I'm
right. Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
she's wearing those pants or whatever they're actually called that are black right now, and they have splotches of fresh mud and dirt on them. She is wearing a long sleeve with almost like a high neck black shirt that's like loose but fitting on her well, and you can tell that she's also wearing a hijab that has a slightly lowered cap that has a matching color that's right around like the band of her waist too. Very stylized, very well put together. There's a inherent kindness in her eyes as she smiles at you, Leah, that I don't even know if you technically are able to meet her eyes, and she goes, Rosalia Lombardo, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
She pauses and her shoulders kind of slump. She says, you don't have to avert your eyes here. Look at me. Hi. Welcome to my home.
Hello. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. So I've heard your name spoken as Leah. Is that what you prefer, or do you prefer Rosalia?
Whatever you prefer.
And as you're shaking your head, she shakes her head back at you like the same way. It's an obvious mocking you, but there's something jovial about it. She says, no, it's not what I prefer. You are a guest in my home. You have the extension of my hospitality, and I'm asking you what you prefer. How would you prefer to be addressed?
Edmund and Miss Gloria. Edmund called me Rosalia. Miss Gloria called me Leah, and so does Mr. Justice.
She takes a deep breath that she obviously doesn't need, and she exhales, and she moves up to you. I don't care what Edmund called you. I don't care what Gloria calls you. And I don't care what Justice calls you. When you speak to yourself, what do you call yourself?
Leah.
Do I have your permission to call you Leah?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Will you please, Leah, pick up that bag of topsoil and then just march it around to the back?
Without even responding, she starts to do what is asked of her.
And she steps out of the way with like a smile, and then she looks down the driveway to you, Ivy, and she says, good evening. Welcome to my home.
Thanks for the invite.
And she very, gently, it's not very much like, calling a dog, but there's a beckoning where she's welcoming you up the asphalt drive. And when you get within about 7 feet of her, there's a pause, and you can tell that she's looking not at you, but she's looking through and around you. It's a very deliberate looking at something that's not just you. And then this quiet sadness comes across her face. And you don't know what she knows, Ivy, but she knows. And she gives you a smile. Thank you again for accepting that invitation. I appreciate it. Tell me, Ivy, do you grow things, or are you mostly conditioned to destroying them?
I destroy things. Everything.
Not everything. But me saying that doesn't mean anything to you. I know. So, in the wake of your unstoppable destruction, let's help you grow something. Follow me. And she pops into the little garage, and there's just give me just a second. Zoe, please get out of yourself. My Frenchie is just tearing the inside of her paw out. Like, I need to give her an allergy pill for today, but she's getting ready to run that paw raw.
Does she snort when she does it too?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I don't know if this helps, but I could not hear it at all.
No,
Okay.
we can't hear.
I couldn't
Good.
hear anything.
Okay.
It may be annoying you or stressing you out, but I heard nothing.
Just in the
Yeah,
background,
we don't.
like, she's tearing
Heard
the fuck
nothing.
out of her paw. Zozo. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah. You fucking up your paw? Mommy will give you a Zyrtec in a little bit. You ugly thing. You're my favorite ugly puppy.
Our favorite crackhead.
Listen, the French bulldogs are such an ugly breed. I love them. They're so cute too. She leads you into the garage, and there's just this menu of seeds. Some of them are in canisters, some of them are in packets, and then there are some plants that are just like very fledgling little potted plants. And she says, "So let's grow something together. What should we start with, Ivy?"
Uh, I don't know.
What are your favorite scents?
Cinnamon, clove.
Fuck. Okay, wait. I'm so sorry. The Zoom froze because this is really important. I need you to restart that. Sorry. We're good now.
Um, Cinnamon, clove, the sea.
Cinnamon, clove, and the sea. The sea may be a bit of a problem, but cinnamon and cloves, I may be able to get close. Here. And she reaches in and she snags a couple packets and she slaps those into your hand. She says, "Would you be so kind as to bring that wheelbarrow down and take that around back?"
Sure.
Thank you. There should be one more of you arriving. I'm actually surprised that he wasn't first. And she brushes off her hand. She says, "Oh, be careful. That last hook I need to, the whole thing might come down. Just be careful when you bring the wheelbarrow down."
Okay.
And Ivy, she was right. That hook on that like cardboard ring is just getting ready to about give up its life. It just needs to be switched over a couple of pegs. So you're able to pull the wheelbarrow down and you're wrapping around when Connor arrives. Connor, what does it look like when you arrive?
There we go. Connor I'm not afforded the car that Mr. Prim uses to get around.
No, of course not.
Of course not. I don't have that advantage that he has. So I would say I'm arriving in a nice car. It's not quite the beater that Leah drives up in, but it's enough that people wouldn't look at it and immediately be embarrassed for the driver like they would be for Leah.
Okay.
Instead, it's well put together. It's a simple car, just four wheels and a seat, and it comes speeding down the road as if. Because correct me if I'm wrong, was there a time listed on the marching orders, or was there like a
Oh, for
specific
sure.
time?
Yeah,
note?
there was a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then as soon as this car pulls up, it's going to almost in a weird he's done this before kind of way do a hard 90-degree turn and stop against the curb
He would.
as
Fucking
as
Connor.
Connor comes running out. He's well dressed in a suit, obviously. I mean, he's a Ventru. His hair is pulled back in his usual man bun, and I'm running up the walk, checking my watch, going shit, 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 shit. And as soon as I get near any of them, I'm sorry, please. Yeah. Hi. And what you notice is, as he says this, his right cheekbone is clearly collapsed.
Oof. Oof. Connor, you run up the drive, and right now the only person that you see is this woman who you are hoping is Ayan Mohammed. It would make sense. And there's a patience as your car skids to the stop and you run up the drive and you apologize, and she just holds up a hand that immediately just waves away any of that urgency that you were just embodying. It doesn't make any sense that she could just use you as a whiteboard and with like the back of her hand being a dry eraser, just take that away from you. And she says, "You're right on time. Welcome. My name is Ayan Mohammed. You are Connor Rowe."
Yes. It's very nice to meet you. And I'm not making her gaze at all.
Yeah.
I'm like even like looking at the watch, I don't look up from the watch.
Okay. Oof. You don't look up from the watch in particular. You can feel her presence coming in on you, and it's not odd, but she's radiating a warmth. Some kindred can do that. There are various tricks to imitate life, but she actually is radiating just a bit of warmth. And she says, Conoro, may I touch you?
If you would like.
And her right hand goes and just intercepts your view where her palm comes over your watch, and her thumb turns and twists it, and she pulls that watch out of your view where you can't look at it. The second hand comes up underneath your chin, and it lifts it up where you have to meet the almost empathetic intensity that's in her brown eyes. And as she lifts up your head, the back of her fingers come up, and they just very gently run across that collapsed cheekbone.
As she's doing this.
Go ahead.
As she's doing this, as she pushes my head up, even though at the level that she's holding my head, I would be seeing her eye to eye, I am still just averting my eyes the best of my ability. I'm actively trying not to make eye contact. Like, I can recognize the warmth from it, but it's a conditioned response that I don't know this empathy.
Oof.
I haven't seen this empathy in 30 years.
There's another deep breath. Connor. He's not here.
I know, but he'll know. He'll know.
And that chin tilts up just a bit more. He's not here, Connor. And you have my permission to look at me.
Slowly, my eyes will just meet hers. It's almost, there's a reluctance to it. Like, he almost overcorrects looking at her first before he finally meets her gaze.
And when you do meet that gaze, she smiles. There's a warmth to that smile. Very soon, if we're both lucky, you'll see what I see when I look at you. But that is for another time. I need you to grab that rake, that hoe, and if I were you, I would pull that jacket off and just hang it on the doorknob, or you can just step right inside into the living room and just put that onto a couch.
I'll slowly take the jacket off and almost in a mechanical way pinch the nape of the neck so it folds perfectly.
Yep.
Put my right hand underneath it to keep there is not a crease on this suit. And I will say, with your permission, I'd like to hang it inside, please.
Please, by all means. You have my hospitality. You're welcome here.
And I'll walk in but I'm not making I'm as much as I'm walking in to see the interior of this house, much like what Ivy did, to do a quick scan of making a note of anything I'm going to share back with Mr. Prim as soon as I get back, and just lay the jacket on the couch as I'm assuming it's right there.
It's right there. Yeah. As soon as you come in, it looks like a dining room that she's re-outfitted into a living room. Yeah.
So I'll put the jacket there, but before I walk back, just make another quick look around, looking for anything, because I don't know if Mr. Prim has met with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that when I go back, I will be giving a full report of everything.
Full report. Well done. I am going to spare you the description now until I get everyone inside of the house, and then I'll just give it to everyone at the same time.
Yeah. That's totally fine.
Tracey.
And as soon as I lay down, I'm going to grab the bag she asked me to.
Okay. Perfect. Tracey, I'm going to tee this up to you. So as you walk through that little narrow walkway that's about large enough to get her rider lawnmower through there, you open into her backyard, which is humongous. It borders the woods, and you are looking at a jungle paradise of green and lush and life and plants, and it's all like, it was a chain link fence when you first opened, but at some point it transitions into like one of the over tall 6 feet plus wooden privacy fences. And babe, This woman has to have 3/4 of an acre of yard sitting in the back, right on the outside of this enclosed, gorgeous. It's not a sunroom. It almost looks like a little small greenhouse that's attached to her actual living dwelling out here. There are also a massive amount of strategically placed mood lights that are on the ground and around, but also overhead lights that are shining down. It's a workshop paradise. Please describe to me in more detail, building together, on when you're carrying this bag around, what you encounter.
I mean, I think this space is meant not only for comfort, but like to share the space. This space, if it was meant to be just hers, it might have been someplace more private.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, in my opinion, there would be, comfortable seating, a place for a couple people to talk, several people to get together, so that they can be in a place that is comfortable, makes you feel like you're not in the city anymore, but also is private.
Yeah.
So what is said here stays here, or at least it feels like that. We're still vampires.
It can always go one way or the other, especially in kindred society. That is what the three of you encounter when you walk into this green paradise in the back of Miss Mohammed's home. She immediately starts putting you to work, not just conversationally, but also she's actually putting you to work. There are holes that need to be dug. There are plants that need to be put together. There are garden chairs and lawn furniture that need to be assembled. There are seeds that need to be planted. There's de-weeding that needs to be happening. She's not barking orders as much as she's, in a weird way, inviting you to participate in this experience.
Ivy hates it. She hates every moment of it. She doesn't want to grow things that are out during the day when she can't see it. She thinks it's stupid. It's a waste of time. And these things are living and they are not. And how dare they bring joy to anyone? So she's doing as little as possible. Like, she's like pushing things around, like to look like she's participating, like the bare minimum, like a kid in gym class, like you're just doing enough so you don't get yelled at. But she hates it.
And you three are together for the first time, at least. I'm backing away so you guys can kind of narrate your own experience through this. And I'll chime in as Miss Mohammed as we go.
Like I've definitely found a small patch of, I'm not sure what flower it was. I was never great with botany, but I distinctly remember from years and years ago that Isabel loved this flower. And I put down that bag of fertilizer I was asked to carry, and upon seeing that, I make a beeline to it, and I just touch the leaves, just smell that flower, and almost turn back, instinctively turning back, looking for what the next marching orders are, because I was given a task to complete here. I'm not here to smell the flowers. I was given a bag of fertilizer to carry to this greenhouse, and after that brief lapse, I'd almost want to call it, of experiencing some semblance of something, whatever emotion it was, I don't know. But it felt familiar and foreign at the same time as I turned back and say, where would you like this?
You finish planting that flower. Your hands are now dirty. Your shirt is now dirty. But Mr. Prim will forgive all of this. You're being forced into garden work. And you turn around and you look at Ayan Mohammed, and she's not there. Isabel is there. And that hyper intense gaze of those brown eyes is staring back at you. And she's smiling mischievously, and she's got a garden hose in her hand. And you just know in this moment that this is her moment to spray you in the face with this garden hose. And it is going to be the most hilarious moment of her entire week. And you hear the giggle as her fingers connect with the hose and the water sprays out. But before you're made contact with that moisture, Ion is there again. And she says, if you would be so kind, I could use your help assembling this new patio furniture. It's going to set up over there in the corner. I didn't like what they had existing. This is much more comfortable.
I take a deep breath that we both know why I'm taking it, even though I don't need it. And I look down at my shirt. I almost expect it to be wet. I look back at that flower, and then I say, of course, yeah. And it's almost a slip of that abject professionalism that Connor always projects. For the first time in a very long time, he just speaks colloquially to somebody and says, "Yeah, yeah, I can do that." I'll walk over and start pulling apart the planks and getting the screws out, and it's a very meticulous assembly process of each board getting laid out exactly as it needs to be, every screw in an exact pile. It's very methodical, but you almost see the beginnings of the idea of a smile on his face.
And she settles herself down next to you. And she definitely is one of those personalities that just likes to throw everything out onto the floor and figure it out later. But the second you come in with this intentional, all the F's have to be together, all of the E's have to be together, all of the anchors have to, she's immediately corrects to accommodate your preferences. You can feel that, even though she never articulates a word. Ivy, fuck this. What are we doing? This is nonsense. No one has time for this. You are doing the bare minimum of whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. This bullshit position doesn't even really exist anymore. You don't know why you're here. You're not going to celebrate the life. You already told this woman all you do is destroy everything around her. Like, what is she going to do? Make you plant a flower and you feel better about it? Like, this is bullshit. She did give you something, some type of plant or seed or packet. It does faintly smell like cinnamon. And something that's not quite clove, but it's a little bit off from it. And you are sitting down like a stubborn, spoiled kid at gym class who doesn't want to participate. And you're looking at this thing in your hand. And you can feel a head lean gently onto your shoulder. And it folds into the crook of your neck here. And you hear his voice. Please give this a chance.
It's going to take all of her willpower not to crush like the things in her hand. So she probably starts like, because you said they were like packets, right?
Yeah, let's do packets. I like packets. Packets work.
Yeah. So she's probably going to start. And then when she hears the like crumple a little bit of the package, she's probably going to stop. And then look for a corner away from everybody to go plant them. But she's like very rigid and very like, so if anybody looks at her, she's very rigid and she's very, I don't know, like you can't tell if she's angry, if she's sad, or if she's throwing a tantrum. It's like that kind of movement from behind, you know?
Yeah.
So
You find a corner where it's quiet and it's dark. It's a weird sensation sowing grief, Ivy. But the longer you dig, the harder you dig. You don't remember when the tools left your hands and when you decided to do it by hand, but there's something grounding. I'm not going to say peaceful because peace isn't something that you have access to right now. But there is something adjacent to comforting about planting these seeds. Leah, what are you up to?
As much as I can. I know that I can see, because she's not hiding it, that Ivy is not enjoying herself. And for a moment, it looked like Mr. Fancy Pants Ventrue isn't going to be doing anything either. But then he kind of gets into it, and it takes a little longer for Ivy to kind of get into it. But I have to do my work. And not only do I have to do my work, there's a couple of layers to that. I lift heavy things. I move things around. I, do whatever I think is needed, although she likes to be instructed because she doesn't want to do anything wrong.
Yeah.
However, there's a couple of layers here. First being she's trash. She's the lowest of the low. She's the rat. And the rat should do the most work because they're nothing. But in addition, and this is something that probably is always there a little bit, she hopes if a Ventrue hears that she's worked hard, that maybe that word will get back to Edmund. And even if that's all he hears of her, there is a part of her that hopes he does. And so if a bag needs to be lifted and it's too heavy, she's not that strong, but she's going to lift it. And so I think this absolutely is something she desperately enjoys, despite the fact that, she's not sure what the price is for this yet. Like, what are we really here for? Because it can't just be to play in the garden. But as a child, this is one of the few things they could do pretty cheaply.
Yeah.
They could change the land around their trailer. And there was just a small bit of something in the world they could control together. They could build something together.
Yeah.
And so I think, unlike Ivy, who is like, this is not a thing I deserve. I wouldn't say that Leah thinks she deserves it, but she is so desperate for anything good that she leans into it, whatever is asked of her. And while there is a part of her that would like to reach out to Ivy and Connor, right now they do not seem open for that. And so she just keeps her head down and does whatever she needs to do, does the heavy labor or the lifting or whatever she has to do. But she is trying her very best to enjoy it.
You lift, you move, you carry. You're by far the one getting the most amount of steps in on this particular experience. On this particular experience. There's a good feeling about working hard. And there's always a certain hope that comes with cultivating an environment that promotes life. You don't know whether that's hope that you've particularly found in this moment or whether the environment is lending it to you to hold on to. But it does feel just precious on some small level. Connor, you were able to assemble the lawn chairs and the ottomans and this very fun multicolored wicker arrangement where each ottoman has a different bright color, either bright orange or bright purple, or it's very, very the color palette that you would see in like the Southwest. Like I think Arizona colors. It's very vibrant. It's very fun, the wicker. And you and Miss Mohammed assemble these chairs around what looks to be a small fire pit that someone has dug out. And the two of you, along with Leah, that thin blood, are able to load it with wood and other small things that burn. And Miss Mohammed calls the three of you to attention, and she calls you all to her. It almost feels like a summoning in a way. There's something ritualistic to it, even though all she really said was, Leah, Connor, and Ivy, please join me. That's all she said. But something feels ritualistic, almost feels as if you're summoned, not compelled. Your agency and your willpower aren't being touched, but there's an invitation here that is undeniable. And She holds her hands over the dried wood and she says, many kindred do not enjoy provoking their beast in this way. I find it can help break down some of those more stubborn barriers. So I'm asking each of you for your permission to start a small fire.
I give my permission, but as a side note for Bridgett,
Mm-hmm.
I have the merit calm heart, so I get a +2 on my frenzy check. Well, all my frenzy checks are lowered by 2.
Fuck yes, good to know.
FY.
And thank you for calling that out for the viewers too. That's sexy. Okay. Thank you, Ivy. Leah? Connor?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have
Yes.
your permission?
Yes.
Thank you, Connor. Leah?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I think if there is a chair nearby, there is a part, Leah will kind of stand behind it and take her foot and just kind of put her foot around the leg of the chair,
Okay.
almost like holding herself in place and locking herself there just in case.
Ooh, this is good. I need a fear frenzy check from everyone now. We are going to rock this out in 3, 2, 1. Oh, this is stunning. Oh, this is so stunning. Okay, give me just a quick second. The difficulty on this particular frenzy test for the fire is going to be a 3. I think is what I have this set at right now. So, Leah, you're perfectly fine. It sounds like with the merit that you have, Ivy, you're perfectly fine in this moment too.
Yeah, that's 1.
Connor, you failed, didn't you? Didn't you throw up a paper
I
against my
failed.
sister? Okay.
I failed. Not throwing paper anymore. I'm done throwing paper for the rest of this campaign.
Connor,
No
it hits
more paper.
fast. It hits fast like a freight train coming through a thin sheet of tissue paper. Your beast responds immediately to this fire. You can feel the interior of your rib cage begin to open up as this entity, this darkness, this thing bubbles up and comes immediately to your surface, and you're going to fall to... There's a quiet, almost like the first snow of winter, when it just sounds like the snow has the ability to shut all noise out outside. There's a quiet, and the only thing that you can see is you're standing eye to eye with this woman, this Ayan Mohammed, and she looks to you and she says, do I have your permission to take that away from you? Just for tonight.
I'll look down and realize that as this was being provoked, I remember before everything went quiet, my hand gripping that wicker furniture and just feeling the crunch beneath my fingers. And as everything goes quiet and just the stillness, I'm still breathing heavily. I'm still very elevated from this, but as everything goes just quiet, yes.
Connor, there's no way for me to describe what's happening to you this event, so I'm going to do the best that I can. Your hand is still gripping that wicker, and in the darkness of the woods behind you, you can hear something growling and snarling and thrashing, breaking through bramble and branches, and you can hear crunching, and something is angry and frustrated and dark and powerful, and you don't know if this is possible, but this is how it feels. It almost feels as this woman has separated you from your beast and thrown it out.
Yep.
The last time you actually felt humane was the moment before Mr. Prim turned you. And that's how you feel in this moment. Because that occupant that's been inside of you for the past 30 years is suddenly not there. To the rest of you, Aya Mohammed just sits down in a chair after the fire starts. She never goes and stands before Connor. You can see Connor getting ready to frenzy, and there's obviously a response to that, but it seems like he just navigates it well. He is getting ready. His fear frenzy comes up, and then it just goes away.
When I start seeing that, the frenzy, though, both my hands go behind my back
Yeah.
as I like stand there and I wait. And I don't move them until if he like moves to like sit down or moves somewhere else, loosens his grip on the chair,
Yeah.
any of like, signs that he's either riding it or he's, he got it in check himself.
His hands loosen from the wicker. This isn't riding it. You've seen plenty kindred ride their frenzy. You've ridden it. This is something different. This is something different. The four of you are seated around this little small crackling fire, and Ayan slaps her hands onto her very thick thighs. The parachute pants kind of jump around a bit, and she takes a deep breath and she looks to you, Leah, and she says, "You are not a rat." And she looks to you, Connor, and she says, "You are not a boy." And she looks to you, Ivy, and she says, "You're not a lapdog." And then she looks at the three of you, and she says, "So now that those labels that have been unfairly placed upon you by those who are meek and insecure and hollow, those people don't have power here, I do. I don't really like the weather in Ohio. I will say that things were much better in NOLA, but we all make our adjustments. But now that we know who we are not, please tell me who you are." And she settles back into her chair and she pulls her big thighs up and she crosses her legs and she throws her hands in her lap and she looks around at you guys.
I look to whoever has the highest status of the three of us, which I believe is Ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name's Ivy. Um, you all know my clan. Um, I take contracts and I take payment. That's who I am.
There's a pause and you just, Ivy, you fucking know it. This woman is about to say some silly shit like "that's not enough" or "dig deeper" or "find your true self" or "this is a safe place, you can be vulnerable and share with us." Like, you can see it coming down the pipeline. This bitch is absolutely about to go, "Aren't you more than your clan? Aren't you more than the next kill?" But she doesn't. She nods and she looks satisfied with that. Perfect. Welcome to the fire, Ivy. Who's next?
I'll raise my hand, just like slowly off of the wicker. First off, I'm sorry about the chair. That was sorry.
It's okay. I got a really good deal on that on Wayfair.
Uh, I'm Cotter Rowe. I'll just Ventru, indicating the suit in the most like subtly obnoxious way possible.
Like, clearly you see this as a fine Italian suit. Don't come at me, bro. You know what I am.
And I'm somebody who's gonna be on top someday. I I was once, and I'll be there again. I'm not saying anything about my daughter. I'm intentionally leaving that like she knows, they don't. So I am just
Yeah.
I'm gonna not explicitly not mention that.
Which, you just said something very powerful, Connor. She knows, but they don't. How do you know she knows? Because she does know.
that moment with the flower. I mean, I've been around for these 30 years. I've noticed secrets being passed around. I've been sent by Mr. Prim to notice things, and every now and again you start to notice a little bit of a pattern that something unsaid is known by somebody else without having it to be said.
Hmm. And chubby cheeks and a warm smile look to you, Leah.
I'm Leah. I am here to help people. Um, I used to work with Mr. Edmund and Miss Gloria, and now I work for Mr. Justice. Um, I help people with what they need.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Each of you, my name is, because it's only fair that I go as well. My name is Ayan Muhammad. I am from, well, most recently I'm from New Orleans, but it looks like I'll be living here in Columbus for a while. And in a way, I'm very much like each of you. I too like to help people, like Leah does. Ivy, I accept contracts. I'm on a contract right now, as a matter of fact. And Connor, I too was once on top and lost everything. You seek to regain everything. I'm actually pretty happy with nothing. Nothing works for me. Nothing really works for me in a lot of different ways. Okay, I have a question for the three of you. Do you know what a way sale is? Okay, I think that's a charming start to our conversation. Each of you have a beast, and her eyes just kind of fade out into the forest for a moment. Some thoughtful long look. Connor, you know exactly what she's looking at because you can still hear it running around and growling and snarling, clawing at you to get back, but something is stopping it from crossing that fence. And each of us grapples with our humanity. Our society, as the three of you keenly know, can be very cruel and very dark. The Camarilla, especially, cultivates an ecosystem of despair. Hard stop. Whoever this bitch is, that's a dangerous line to say out loud. That's a that's a line that can get you pulled in front of a prince. That's a dangerous line to articulate out loud. But she's saying it not even with a scandalized impression. She's just saying it as if it's something that we all know to be true, but apparently no one wants to say it out loud other than her. We face challenges from within, we face challenges from without, and all of these things compromise our humanity. If you are not intentional about protecting the humanity within you, you can ultimately fall to your beast, to something that we call wayselling, which means you become unwritten. Your beast drives full time and you cease to exist in any capacity in which you do now. You are reduced to the primal hatred of our curse. And for that, there is no remedy. Many young kindred, and I recognize that some of us are a bit older than others, but given where we are in society, I would safely say that the three of you are neonate in some capacity, or at least compared to me, as I date myself. You feel the call to oblivion, and you fight it every day. And given what I've seen from each of you, I don't really know where you find the strength to survive the things that you do. But somehow you do. And you maintain your grasp on the humanity that you have left. Many princes, many domains, even some of the other sects, even the Sabbats, many sects don't appreciate addressing this with the transparency that I've been given to address it with you now. This world will test you. It will continue to test each of you in the worst ways. And you need to know that there is support. This society, this culture will take everything from you. And it's important for you to know that you have access to tools to ground yourself. It's important to know that you have anchors that you can lean on to find yourself again when the world threatens to take everything from you. You're not a rat. You're not a lapdog. You're not a boy. Tonight, you are Leah, you are Ivy, and you are Connor. And tonight, that just needs to be enough. Can we all agree upon that?
For
Oh,
tonight.
this is a stubborn group, aren't you?
For tonight.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Connor.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Leah.
I, sure. Looking irritated as fuck.
As fuck. Thank you. Before we continue with our activities for the evening, there's one thing that I think may help shift some things inside of you. The three of you need to know I don't want anything from you. There's no payment. There's no catch. And she immediately looks at Leah and Connor. I don't want anything from you. There's no catch. For once, I don't want anything from any of you. And that's a sensation that I suspect the three of you aren't very familiar with. So, this is where we're going to start our evening. And she reaches into her pockets. She opens up a bag of those paper seats. She rips off the top and she flings them into the fire. And the fire flashes with the same colors that you see around the cushions. The purple and the orange and the red and the yellow and the lime green. And this is going to be a very quick closeout scene for the three of you. I can't explain why you know this, but this is basically what's being offered to you as an invitation. When we face our traumas, especially childhood trauma or traumas that we've grappled with in other places, a lot of that resistance comes from a place of we needed something in that moment that we were denied. Whether we were denied it by a parent unwillingly, whether we denied the compassion for ourselves. There's a moment in time that your trauma originated and you needed something and you didn't get it. Maybe it was forgiveness. Maybe it was the ability to forgive. I don't know what that is, but every origin story has something of that nature. I'm going to go round table, and these are all very individual experiences. So just out of character, you guys aren't seeing or hearing the conversations that are happening around you. These are one-on-one. Connor, you are in Mr. Prim's office. The bullet ants in that case march one by one. And you're certain in this moment that he cares more about those ants than he does you. But he certainly controls you to the same meticulous, exacting nature that he controls those ants. What injuries do you bear from him tonight?
A broken wrist. And he has removed my right pinky. I'm the opposite hand.
Broken right wrist and an amputated pinky on the left. He marches the length of his mahogany table back and forth, back and forth. And the only thing you can really wonder in this moment is what is he going to take from you next in this moment? And he stops and he looks to you and he goes to call you boy. You can see the rounded lips of the of the boy coming out. And instead he calls you what? What did you need in that moment that you didn't receive? What did you need him to call you?
Just my name.
Connor.
I waited for him to say my name and he never did.
Connor.
All I needed was that.
Connor. He calls you by name, and you feel empowered in this moment to connect eyes with him. What did you need in that moment that you didn't receive from Mr. Prim?
Validation. He believed that night that I had done something to embarrass him in front of other kindred. It wasn't my fault. And he wouldn't believe me. As soon as we got back, he took me by that wrist and snapped it effortlessly. And then he looked me in the eyes and said, "How have you failed me today?" My answer wasn't good enough, but I knew it was true. He wouldn't accept. He wouldn't take that answer. I told him the truth. He wouldn't listen to me. He never listened.
He's listening now. And he looks to you and he says to you, I am an imperfect sire, but I see greatness in you. I push you to bring out that greatness in you. And we're going to close. Leah. Now we have a couple different options for you. I'm going to actually lean on Tracey. I knew what I wanted to do with Doc. I have a couple different options from you. Who are you in this scene with? Who would you like to be in this scene with? Because
Probably Justice.
Justice?
Probably Justice.
Okay. So what I had on my menu was, funny enough, not Justice. What I had in my menu was Edmund, and what I had in my menu was your sire. And both of those could get real creative real fast. I can do Justice, I can do Sire, or I can do Edmund. And I'm going to ruin Tracey's day by making her choose one of those three experiences.
I know, but I want moments of each of them. Maybe in a backer episode. Sorry.
In a backer episode.
Let's go with. We've met Justice.
Yeah.
And we've kind of sort of met Edmund. Let's go with my sire.
Oh, that's a dangerous one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an amazing one. The seeds spread out along the fire as these colors emerge, and you are tasting Pizza Hut pizza. The cheese that's just right. The crust that's just baked to that perfect point of crunch.
Mm-hmm.
And a hand very slowly removes that man from your little fangs. And kneeling before you is a woman, Caucasian woman with dirty red blonde hair. She's wearing fishnet stockings and very high cut booty shorts. And she's wearing a sweatshirt, and she has bangles of jewelry and dangles all over her arm and piercings in her nose and her ears and vibrant green eyes. And you inherently know that this is your sire. She slowly lowers that man from your grip, and she looks to you, and she says, I know your name.
Why? Why did this happen?
Well, would you believe that you were chosen?
No. I've only ever been chosen for anything once, and I screwed it up immediately.
She smacks her lips and she pops a big of whatever bubblicious bubble gum that she's got going in her mouth, because of course she does. Where she's populating oxygen for it is just super funny. Some habits never die. And there was something, there was a lot that you needed in the moment of your embrace that you didn't get. Why it happened. Why it happened to multiple people. Why you were chosen. These are all answers that no one could afford to you because they're all dead. Your sire is dead. Who knows what you're talking to right now? Maybe it doesn't matter. Because a need that wasn't met prior is being met now, or is being attempted to be met now. And that pop happens, and she rolls her eyes, and she says, there is so much they're not telling you, but you have to open your mouth and ask questions. I want you to think back. Think back to that scene with that Lasombra. She said something in the Greek Orthodox Church that night. Do you remember what she said? Do you remember what she said that mattered? Something she said mattered. You missed it, didn't you? It's okay. I can help you find it again. What did she say that mattered? It was profound, Leah. It was really fucking profound.
Try to remember.
You want to throw a chop?
I think, I mean, the first thing that comes to her head is that Edmund has a boon over her.
Nope.
Boon.
Nope.
And that's the first thing that she thinks of.
No.
So,
no, Leah, come on. I can help you find it. We can see it together. Once you see it, you'll look at everything differently, I promise.
You said to ask for help. I don't know. I need help.
Okay. I will guide you the rest of the way. And she takes you back to that moment when you're standing there beside Justice and the prince are having some type of conversation. And the statement was this. There was a nest of them, all thin bloods. And Mia Glass made a statement to the effect of, that's not supposed to happen. And you know thin bloods are absolutely accidental. You can't sire thin bloods intentionally. It's an anomaly. It's a mishap. It's a fuck up. It's a malfunction. It's usually when some 14th or 13th generation vampire somehow manages to get an embrace off and they still fucked it up. That's what thin bloods are. They're an anomaly. They're a fuck up. You can't embrace thin bloods. You see it?
If it's not supposed to happen, then how did it happen?
They grow up so fast. Start asking questions, Leah.
I will. What's your name?
Is that something that you need in this moment? Now that's the storyteller asking. Yeah. That's not this character asking.
I think there is a part of her that knows this isn't real.
Okay.
And that if it's not real, then she can't answer that unanswerable question.
Okay. Eliza Morning. Ivy. The seeds spread out over the fire. There are glimpses of orange and lime green and yellow and red. You also have a choice. You want Angel or do you want Moses?
We'll go Angel.
Poor Tiffany.
I know. That was like a turd in a shit sandwich choice, just FYI.
I know. Oh, welcome to Symphony. Y'all wanted to hurt. Y'all did this shit to yourself.
She gave you choices.
Yeah, no, you definitely.
I got bullet ants.
You are reclining in uncomfortable stone seats at Cooper Stadium. This is the night that it happened. You have the stuffed animal with you. And he's seated next to you. Your hips are touching. And you can feel him drawing almost a soothing circular pattern beneath your jacket directly onto your lower back. And he leans his head onto your shoulders, just like he leaned onto you just a moment ago when he told you to give this a chance. He looks up to the sky. He looks up over to you. And my question for Ivy is, what does Ivy need in this moment that she didn't get?
That he understands that if he would have known, he would have made her make that choice as well.
He looks to you with that stupid fucking smirk. You know, neither of us really had a good horse in this race. And he laughs. If you didn't do it, they were going to kill us both. I don't blame you for any of it.
Would you have made the same choice?
If the tables were turned? I don't know. I don't know how you even begin to approach a choice like that, babe. I know you made the best decision that you could. I wouldn't have let them kill you, so I would have had to make the same choice. You want to know the really fucked up thing about all of this? Framing. Arguably, we are closer than we've ever been before. They tend to see that as a punishment. Is it really that bad having me around?
I think it depends how many horse jokes you make.
Okay, so that was a low blow. You love my horse jokes. They're amazing. I've been working on a whole stable of them. And then he smiles again because now he's gotten two in on the same conversation.
I miss you. And I'm not going to be okay. But I'll do my best. I already feel colder, meaner, angrier. Which works out to the benefit of my clan.
Man, you really did hang out with me too long. You sound like a brouhaha. He smiles at you.
I mean, I guess at least I don't get, angry over spilled milk.
Okay, you know what? Still, fuck that guy and fuck you. I can't believe we're having this argument in whatever weird situation fine, Ivy, fine. Listen, if you're going to be angry, if you're going to be bitter, if you're going to be whatever the fuck you got to be to get through whatever this is, don't do it for the clan. If nothing else, do it for yourself.
I'll do it for you.
It's absolutely not what I just said to you, Ivy. Why are we fighting in whatever this is? The afterlife, a simulation?
Because that's what we do. I love this. I don't want to leave.
I don't think we can leave each other anymore, Ivy. I think the only thing keeping us apart is your guilt. And as much as I can tell you to take that away, you're the only one that can remove it.
Fair.
So per
I'll
usual,
work on it.
Get out of your own way.
I'll do my best.
Neither of you really remember when the sun began to rise in this split level home somewhere in North Columbus. But when you wake the following evening, you're inside of what looks to be a living room with singing bowls and art supplies and cushions and comfy floors. You definitely slept over day here. And when the three of you wake up and you look at each other, Ayan Mohammed isn't in the room. But there's a small packet of seeds for each of you with a note written on the back that says, "Seed you soon." And that, friends of the Symphony, is where this episode ends for tonight. If you watched the replay or you watched us live, we genuinely appreciate your attention. We hope you've enjoyed the Symphony, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Good night.